crochet project, you're going to need your 5mm crochet hook, as well as a darning needle or tapestry needle and a pair of scissors. The yarn that I'm using is by I Love This Cotton Yarn. And here's some information about this yarn. The main rose color that I'm using is Pink Sparkle. And here's some more information. The other colors that I'm using are the White Sparkle and then Bright Green. You can have fun with the color of the rose. Another fun color is this beautiful purple or amethyst colored yarn. Go ahead and start with whatever color that you want for your rose. I'm using my Pink Sparkle. And you're just going to fold it over on itself to form a loop. And then take your crochet hook, go right through the loop, hold the base of the loop with your middle finger and your thumb. And then just yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for a slip knot. Go ahead and cinch that knot down. And then cinch the loop around your crochet hook. Then you're going to make a chain of 5. There's one chain. So yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through the loop for your second chain, third, fourth, and fifth. So I have 5 chains. Then you're going to take your crochet hook, go into that first chain on the hook, and then we're going to make a slip stitch. So you just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and bring the yarn through both loops for a slip stitch. And then you just made a chain 5 circle. So now you're going to take your crochet hook, go into the center of the circle, and then bring up a loop, and then make a single crochet. So just yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through both loops for a single crochet. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then make a single crochet into the center of the circle. And then you just completed your first chain 2 loop. So you're going to make 7 of those around the circle. So you just chain 2 again, 1, 2, and then make a single crochet into the center of the circle. So that's my second chain 2 loop. And you can scoot your chain 2 loops over if you need to. So far I've made 2 chain 2 loops. So you're going to keep repeating this. 1, 2, single crochet into the center of the circle for my third chain 2 loop. So go ahead, finish making your chain 2 loops until you have a total of 7 in the not the magic circle, but in the center of the circle. So now I have 7 chain 2 loops around the circle. I'm going to end with a chain of 2. 1, 2, and then I'm going to make another single crochet into the center of the circle. And then that's going to complete a total of 8 chain 2 loops around the circle. Then you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to go into your first chain 2 loop. So go into the center of the first chain 2 loop and then make a single crochet. Then you're going to make a half double crochet. We're going to make our first petal in the chain 2 loop. So I'm going to make a half double crochet. So I have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 loops for a half double crochet. Then you're going to make 3 double crochets, so yarn over, go into the center of the chain 2 loop, and then you're going to make 3 double crochets, so yarn over, go through 2 of the loops, 2 loops remaining, yarn over and go through the 2 remaining loops for your double crochet. You need 2 more double crochet into the same chain 2 loop. Then you're going to make another half double crochet. So you just yarn over, go into the same chain 2 loop, bring up a loop, 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down and go through all 3 loops for a half double crochet. Then you're going to finish with a single crochet. So you finished your first petal in the chain 2 loop. So we have 8 chain 2 loops around total. So you're going to have 8 total petals when you're finished. So I'm going to make one more petal with you in the next chain 2 loop. So I'm going to go into my next chain 2 loop, and then I'm going to make a single crochet, 1/2 double crochet, so yarn over, go into that chain 2 loop, complete your 1/2 double crochet, then 3 double crochet, then 1/2 double crochet, and then you're going to end with a single crochet. And you're going to repeat this all the way around, back to where you started, until you have a total of 8 petals, 1 in each of the chain 2 loops, and then come back. Now after you finish your last petal, go ahead and make a slip stitch in that first stitch right before the next petal. So just go into that stitch, yarn over, and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then you just finished your 8 petals. So don't worry if it curls up a little bit. You can flatten it down so you can see how it flattens down. And it will get flatter too as you crochet around, but you want to make sure that you have your 8 petals because you need 4 corners and then you need the 4 sides of the flower, that which will form the square. So after you finish your slip stitch, we're going to start the next round. So we're going to make a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to slip stitch behind the petal, the first petal. So what I do is I usually turn my work so that the wrong side is facing me, and then I'm going to go to the stitch at the end of the first petal, and then I'm going to make a slip stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and pull the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And then you can see how the chain 3 loop is behind the petal. So here is the right side, and then here is the wrong side. And you're going to repeat that all the way around back to the beginning. So you're going to make a chain of 3. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to go behind the next petal, and you're going to go to that last stitch on the petal, or the stitch between the 2 petals, and then you're going to slip stitch. So just bring the yarn through both loops on the hook for a slip stitch. And you're going to repeat that all the way around back to the beginning, and then come back. So now you should have chain 3 loops behind each of the petals. This is the wrong side. I'm going to go ahead and turn my work so that the right side is facing me, and then I'm going to bend down that first petal because we're going to be working into the chain 3 loop behind that first petal. So you're going to go with your crochet hook into that chain 3 loop, and then bring up a loop and make a single crochet. Then you're going to make 1/2 double crochet, so yarn over, go into that chain 3 loop, bring up a loop, make a 1/2 double crochet. Then you're going to make 4 double crochet. So 4 double crochet stitches into that same chain 3 loop. And then you're going to make 1/2 double crochet, and then you're going to finish the petal with a single crochet. And then you finish your first petal behind of the round behind your first rose petal. Then you're going to go into the next chain 3 loop and just repeat the same thing. So I'm going to start in the chain 3 loop with a single crochet. Then I'm going to make a half double crochet. Four double crochet. Then 1 half double crochet, and then I'm going to finish up the petal with a single crochet. And then you're just going to repeat that pattern all the way around back to where you started. So then when you finish your last petal, don't forget to make a slip stitch at the first stitch before the first petal that you made. Go ahead and make a slip stitch, and then you're going to get ready for your next round. So you can see that your beautiful flower or rose is starting to lay a little bit flatter. Now we're going to get ready for our next round. So for the next round, you're going to start with a chain of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the same way that you did for the previous round, just turn your work over, and then you're going to go into the stitch between the next 2 petals, right behind the first petal, and then you're going to make a slip stitch so that the chain 4 loop will lie right behind that first petal. Then you're going to chain 4 again, and then you're going to go behind the next petal, so that stitch right between the 2 petals, and then just make a slip stitch. And then you're going to repeat that all the way around until all of your chain 4 loops are, there's 1 chain 4 loop behind each petal. Now after you finish the chain 4 loops all around, then you're going to turn your work so that the right side's facing you. Turn that petal down so you can work your next petal round into the chain 4 loop. Then you're going to start the petal with a single crochet, 1 half double crochet, 6 double crochet, one half double crochet, and then you're going to finish up the petal with a single crochet. And then you're going to repeat the same pattern to complete a petal in each of the chain 4 loops around, and then come back. So now you can see your gorgeous vintage rose turning out nice and flat and beautiful. So then, don't forget to make a slip stitch into the base of that first petal that you made. And then we're going to make 1 more petal round. So for this petal round, you're going to make a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the same way that you've done for each of the other petal rounds, you're going to go behind the petal, and then you're going to make a slip stitch into that last stitch of the petal, or between the two petals, and then you're just going to repeat the chain of 6 behind each petal. So now I've finished all of my chain 6 loops around the back of the flower. So now I'm going to make my first petal. So for the first petal, you're going to make the petal the exact same way as the previous petal. You just make a single crochet into the chain 6 loop, and then make a half double crochet, and then you're going to make 6 double crochet, and then a half double crochet, and then finish up the petal with a single crochet. You're going to repeat that petal all the way around. This will be our last round of petals. So now, after you finish your last petal, go ahead and make a slip stitch at the base of the first petal, and then you can go ahead and finish off. So just yarn over and just pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. And then you have your gorgeous vintage rose complete. So now I'm just going to show you how to bury your loose yarn ends. So now just take your tapestry needle, and then you just take and weave your loose yarn end into the back of your flower, and then just bury it. I like to go a couple of different directions to make sure it's nice and buried. And then go ahead and trim your loose yarn ends. Now you're going to take your green yarn, and you're going to take your crochet hook and just join the green yarn into the top of one of your petals. So just bring up a loop, and then go ahead and chain 1, and then turn your work over and just tie a knot. Then you're going to chain 8, 1, 2, after you make your chain of 8, you're going to go to the next petal and then just make a single crochet into the top stitch of the next petal. And I have the right side facing me. Now we're going to make a corner stitch. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to make a puff stitch. So to make a puff stitch, you're going to yarn over, you're going to go into the same stitch and bring up a loop, and then bring the loop up to the height of a double crochet stitch. And then you're going to yarn over again, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, again bring that loop up to the same height, yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop, again to the same height. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all of the loops except for 1. Then you have 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through those 2 remaining loops to complete your puff stitch. Then you're going to make a chain of 2, 1, 2, and then make another puff stitch into the same stitch. So yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop to the height of a double crochet, yarn over, go in the same stitch, bring up a loop to the height of a double crochet, yarn over, go into the same stitch, bring up a loop to the height of a double crochet. Then you're going to yarn over, turn the hook upside down, and go through all the loops except for one. Then yarn over and go through those 2 remaining loops, and then chain 2. 1, 2. And then you're going to make one more puff stitch into the same stitch. Then, after you finish the 3rd puff stitch, you're going to chain 3. And then make a slip stitch into the base of, in the same stitch, basically. So just make a slip stitch into the same stitch. Then you've completed a corner stitch. So you're going to have 4 corner stitches, and that's what your corner stitch is going to look like. Then you're going to chain 8. 1, 2, after you make your chain of 8, you're going to go to the top stitch of your next petal, and then you're just going to make a single crochet. And then you're going to chain 8 again. And then make another corner stitch into the next petal. So we're going to go into the top of the next petal and make a single crochet. And then I'm going to show you how to make a corner stitch again. So you can see how you have your corner stitch, and then you have just a single crochet for one of the sides. So you're going to have 4 sides and 4 corner stitches. So now you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to make your first puff stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, and then make your second puff stitch. And then chain 2, and then make your third puff stitch in the same stitch. And then you're going to chain 3, and then make a slip stitch into the same stitch. Then you're going to chain 8, and then make a single crochet into the top of the next petal, and then chain 8. And then you're going to make a corner stitch into the top stitch of the next petal. So you're going to repeat this all the way around until you have 4 corners and then 4 sides. So I have my 4 corners, and then I finished my last chain 8. I'm going to make a single crochet into the starting stitch, and then I'm going to go ahead and just finish off. After I slip stitch, I'm going to slip stitch into that first chain 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. So now you're ready to join your white colored yarn. So I'm going to join right where I finished off in that single crochet. Just bring up a loop and then just chain 1 and then just tie a knot. And then I'm going to bury my loose yarn ends later. So I'm just going to let them hang for now. Then you're going to make a chain of 3 after you slip stitch into the chain 8 loop. So go ahead and go in that chain 8 loop and then just make a slip stitch. And then chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and then make 2 double crochet into the same chain 8 loop, and then chain 1, and then make 3 more double crochet into the same chain 8 loop, and then chain 1, and then you're going to go into the chain 2 space between the first and the second puff stitch on the corner, and then you're going to make 3 double crochet into that space, that first chain 2 space. Then just chain 1, and then we're going to make our first corner space right into the top of the puff stitch, the middle puff stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into that top stitch of the middle puff stitch, and make 2 double crochet into the same stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, and then make 2 double crochet into the same stitch. And then you just completed your corner stitch. 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet. Then you're going to make 3, after you chain 1, you're going to make 3 double crochet into the next chain 2 space, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you just finished the first corner. Then you're going to go into that chain 8 loop on the side and make 3 double crochet into the chain 8 loop. Then you're going to chain 1, make another set of 3 double crochet into the same chain 8 loop, and then you're going to chain 1, and then you're going to skip the single crochet and make a double crochet into the next chain 8 loop. And then you're going to chain 1, make another 3 double crochet into the same chain 8 loop, and then chain 1, and then that's how you're going to complete a side. So here is how you complete the corner, and then this is how you complete the side, and then we're back to the next corner. So I'm going to work one more corner with you. So we're going to work into the chain 2 loop after the first puff stitch, and then make 3 double crochet into that chain 2 loop. And then you're going to chain 1. Then you're going to make into that top stitch of the middle puff stitch, you're going to make a corner stitch. So you're going to make 2 double crochet into that top stitch. And then you're going to chain 2. And then make 2 more double crochet into that same top stitch. And then chain 1, and then you're going to go into the next chain 2 loop and make 3 double crochet into the same chain 2 loop, chain 1, and then you're back to the side where you make 3 double crochet into the chain 8 loop, chain 1, 3 double crochet into the same chain 8 loop, chain 1, skip the single crochet and make a double crochet into the next chain 8 loop, make a set of 3 double crochet total, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochet. And then chain 1, and then repeat. So far we've completed 2 sides, and here's a corner, here's another corner, and then another, here's the side here. So go ahead, repeat this pattern all the way around, and then come back. Now we're going to make a slip stitch into the top stitch of that first chain 3 that we made to join the round, and then you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into, actually we're going to go ahead and finish off. So you can go ahead and finish off, just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. Then just get your pink yarn and you're going to join right where you finished off. Just bring up a loop, chain 1, and then you can go ahead and tie a knot. And this time we're going to bury the loose yarn ends as we crochet. So you're going to take the pink and the white loose yarn end that you just tied a knot with and bring it to the side. Lay it along the top of that last row of double crochet. And then you're going to make a chain of 1. And then you're going to go into the next stitch over and then go behind the loose yarn ends, bring up a loop, and then make a single crochet. And you're going to make one single crochet in every stitch. So now at the chain 1 space, just go into the chain 1 space, behind the loose yarn ends, bring up a loop and make a single crochet. And when you get to the first corner, come back So this is how my work looks so far, and I made it to the first corner. So I'm going to continue just making one single crochet in every stitch. And then when I get to the chain 2 space of the corner, I'm just going to go into that chain 2 space and make my single crochets, 2 single crochet, and then right into the next stitch make a single crochet. So you're going to continue this one single crochet in every stitch around all the way back to where you started, and then come back. Now when you finish your last stitch, you can go ahead and make a slip stitch into that first single crochet that you made. And then you can go ahead and finish off. Just yarn over and pull enough yarn through to bury into your work. This is how my work looks when I'm finished. It turned out gorgeous. Then you can turn it over and you can take and bury your loose yarn ends. So this is my glass teapot, and if you're going to be using the blooming flower tea, the glass teapot will allow you to see the tea as it blooms. My teapot comes with this tea strainer, and I just put it right into the glass teapot. You can see it opening up more and more. It has an orange center, which is beautiful. And then I'm just going to let it steep for about 10 minutes. So this is what mine looks like after letting it steep for about 10 minutes. It's ready to drink, and it looks gorgeous. And I just put my leftover tea into a glass jar and put it in the refrigerator to drink cold. Need baking powder, baking soda, salt, brown sugar, 2 bananas, 2 eggs, Greek yogurt. I have Greek vanilla Chobani yogurt, your bean dip, avocado dip, bean avocado dip, your glass bread pan, which is a 1.5 quart, and some olive oil cooking spray, your mixing bowl, and I like to use Pillsbury self-rising flour. I need 2 cups of flour and a teaspoon of baking powder and baking soda, about 1/4 teaspoon of your salt, 3/4 cup of brown sugar, 2 eggs, 2 overripe bananas, 1/4 cup of your avocado white bean dip, and 1/4 cup of your Chobani Greek yogurt, vanilla Greek yogurt. Then I just use my masher to mash all of the wet ingredients in with the dry. And then just use a spoon, a regular spoon, to finish mixing it together. Make sure that your oven is set to 350 degrees. Then, after you mixed it really well, go ahead and spray some cooking oil into your glass bread pan and get ready to pour the mixture into your glass container, baking container. Then you can go ahead and put it into the oven for an hour, or until a toothpick or a butter knife through the center comes out clean. It looks perfect after coming out of the oven after an hour for mine. I'm going to let it cool for about 10 minutes.